Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the update for yesterday, which was May the 1st of this year, 2026. So, I had a payroll office shift. It was that 4 to 1 shift that I've talked about several times in the past. And honestly, not too bad of a day. Again, one of those ones back there, and this is a good thing whenever it happens back there. A no news is good news kind of day. So, um, that is pretty much it. Then I went to the gym and got a pretty good workout in. And that pretty much covered it. Now, I did post 2 videos yesterday. I was like 3 days behind on videos, and I got 2 of them recorded and posted yesterday. And as I'm recording this one, it's actually the second at about 4:38 in the afternoon, to be precise. And yeah, I plan on actually recording another one of these in a few hours, which will actually get me back on course after getting a bit further behind on everything a little bit earlier in the week when just had no motivation to do anything productive. And something I'm still frustrated with myself over. But anyway, once I post that other one, I'll be back up to speed and hopefully able to post an update every day. And what now? In the scheme of things, does it really make a big difference whether or not I am recording this like on the day that I'm talking about or the next day? Of course not. Not really. But I'd like um uh, I'd like to maintain the goal of filming on the day that I'm talking about as much as possible or close to it. And part of the reason for that being is that I mean, if I were filming this yesterday, okay, because I'm talking about May the 1st and on May the 2nd, so if I was filming this on the day that I was actually talking about, what are the odds that I could remember a funny little anecdote or something interesting to share with you guys that happened yesterday better than I could remember it today? I mean, I pride myself on having a pretty good memory, but I mean, let's be real. And so it just I think makes these videos better if I am actually recording them on the day that I'm talking about or close to it. And do I think I'm going to be perfect about that? Of course not. Of course not. But I do think it just makes them better, a little bit more relevant and whatnot, rather than sitting here record like before I'm pressing the record button, doing like what I did this afternoon, which is wait. So is there anything I really want to remember about that day? Like, what did anything happen? Because obviously the closer that you are to something, the better. Anyway, with that big speech, watch me get like a week behind after that. But anywho, I um the I had the Thursday night video, which was actually the one for April the 30th, and I realized I didn't talk about Trash Night. Now, if you um if you're new to my videos, I've been spending time talking on Thursdays about stuff that is getting thrown away. I've implemented a rule because of possible changes in my living situation that I'm going to have to make here in the unfortunately next year to year and a half, give or take. That either going to need to condense or downsize or figure out some way to up income or something. This affordability crisis or whatever is hitting me really hard. And then the thing with my dad and whatnot. Anyway, it's and I'm going to go back into that here, hopefully a little bit before the end of this video. But in any event, I was doing trash. It was trash night, and because of having to this upcoming probably change in my life situation, I've executed a policy of my trash can must be full to the brim every week. I get a weekly pickup, and it's got to be full. Now, obviously, consumables are, typical trash does take up part of it, but there's always some space left over, and using that space to slowly start getting rid of things before I need to start paying and taking on another expense for a storage facility or something. So anyway, and again, this is something else, one of these transitions that I'd like to handle on my terms, as opposed to having to do it frantic at the last moment. So just a little bit at a time. The first 3 or 4 weeks of this were quite easy. Still had stocked pantries and things that in theory we were saving for mom and dad to come to visit, and it was like consumable food items, many of which were like way out of date and whatnot. That made it easy to fill that trash can the first few weeks. But now it's getting into the harder stuff. And starting to ask myself things like, is this something, are the memories associated with this, or whatever the benefit of my having this, is it really that? Is it really all that? To use the cliche. And and sadly not everything is. This week ended up actually throwing out a couple of almost new things. Little plush thing that was like the anxiety or the nervous character from Inside Out 2. That basically I've been given almost like as a cutesy little gag gift. And it's like, this is something, it's cute, and it was a cute gift and a neat thought, but don't have the space for it, and it's nothing I'm ever going to like play with. So, and then there was a never even been opened game of Tripoli, which is that like card game that and that had been actually purchased by an extended family member for a hypothetical like extended family get together. But given how things have progressed, it's sure that that's never going to happen. And that was purchased back in like 2016 or 2017, and it never even unwrapped. But if you're not going to use it, sure, there are things where I could probably go through a process and flip a couple of them on like Amazon or eBay or something to that effect. And there are certain items that I know when I get to them, that I might be looking down those type of avenues. Most of this type of stuff doesn't seem to have any particular real resale value or anything to make it worth anything more than just pitching, unfortunately. As opposed to taking the time installment or commitment to do that. But anyway, and then a couple of like books. I have a ton of like children's books from a hypothetical classroom library I might have at some point. but some of the junky ones start getting rid of those. Anyway, thanks for joining me all the way to the end. Have